Hi, good day. Today I'm going to talk about should sex education be taught to high school students of Ateneo de Davao University. Introduction. What is sex education? So sex education is a broad term used to describe education about human sexual anatomy, sexual reproduction, sexual intercourse, and other aspects of human sexual behavior. And this is according to Science Daily. So another definition, sex education is a high-quality teaching and learning about a broad variety of topics related to sex and sexuality. Also, exploring values and beliefs about those topics and gaining the skills that are needed to navigate relationships and manage one's own sexual health. This is according to Planned Parenthood Federation of America, Inc. 2019. So this is a thesis statement. So despite the fact that students may still be subject to embarrassment or excitable to the subject, which is sex education, and students might laugh and leave inappropriate comments towards the subject matter, it should still be implemented because it would correct terms of human reproductive system and educate about sexually transmitted diseases and proper uses of contraceptions. And at the same time, it can dispel the myths of sex and could have great impact on the prevention of sexual problems in adulthood. Thus, it is important that Ateneo de Davao University should teach their junior high school students with sex education. So this is the overview. So this is the pro arguments. So first is, it would correct terms of human reproductive system and educate about sexually transmitted diseases and proper uses of contraceptions. Second, it would have great impact on prevention of sexual problems in adulthood. Third, it can dispel the myths of sex. So this is the one argument. Students may still be subject to embarrassment or excitable to the subject, which is sex education, and students might laugh and leave inappropriate comments towards the subject matter. So this is the first argument. Let's go deeper. It would correct terms of human reproductive system and educate about sexually transmitted diseases and proper use of contraception. In order to be knowledgeable enough regarding sexual related issues, correct terms of the reproductive system and of sexually transmitted diseases and contraception should be taught by teachers instead of street slang. First, students must understand and value the autonomy of their body and should learn to accept that their reproductive system is part of them. With that being said, sex education helps young people to examine the forces that contribute to a positive or negative body image. Secondly, it is important that these students must develop healthy sexuality and at the same time not be ignorant concerning sexually transmitted diseases, and that they should be informed that the use of contraception is a right and must not be taken away from them. According to the World Health Organization, globally, the use of modern contraception has risen slightly from 54% in 1990 to 57.4% in 2015. It helped prevent closely spaced and ill-timed pregnancies and births and reduces the risk of unattended pregnancy and among women living with HIV, resulting in fewer infected babies and orphans. Thus, applying this could make a huge difference not only to their lives but also to the country. So let's go to the second pro argument, which is it could have great impact on prevention of sexual problems in adulthood. So proper sex education can have a great impact on the prevention of sexual problems in adulthood. Proceed that at-risk sexual behaviors of adolescents. The need for sexual education to students at Ateneo de Davao University could help the prevention of sexual violence if there is any. Children, young people, and students also need to learn about the risk of sexual exploitation and abuse in order to recognize this when it suddenly happens, to protect themselves as far as possible, and to identify and assess available resources of support. Failure to know this have high chances to affect its psychological and emotional factors in adulthood. Also, there is a need to have a proper sex education about consent, which is very necessary when it comes to sex. What they see, they might copy, without knowing if it is right or wrong, and this could affect one's behavior during adulthood. There are always things to be considered, such as adolescent development, parental influence on adolescent behavior, and parents and adolescents' preferences, which help clarify the roles in improving sexual literacy and health.
So the continuation of the pro-argument 3, the course can dispel the myths surrounding sex. So most Filipinos tend to believe on myths, and one way to avert that practice, Ateneo de Davao University could change that perception to their students by educating them. And young people have the right to be informed about their sexuality and to make responsible decisions for themselves. So first, sex education does not encourage sex but helps students delay sexual initiation. So studies from the World Health Organization have shown that the program is effective in reducing the frequency of social intercourse and sexual partners. So second, sex education do not teach the students the mechanics of sex but provide age and developmentally appropriate information and skills to help young people delay sexual initiation and to protect themselves when they do become sexually active. So according to the United Nations Special Rapporteur report on the right to education, abstinence only program marginalize young people who are already engaged in sexual relationships. So it helps build students' knowledge and skills as they mature. This information is much being propagated about sex education. So it's time to put the debate to rest and debunk some of the more common myths about sex education. So the con argument in the topic is that students may still be subject to embarrassment or excitable to the subject, which is sex education, and students might laugh and leave inappropriate comments towards the subject matter. So this can make for out of control classrooms if students take to laugh or make inappropriate comments. The more early they are being taught, the more they become open-minded when hearing things that relate sex matters. So by the help of proper guidance from the teachers and other assigned officers to the subject, and as they are learning, they will eventually realize that this is not something to laugh about. So because it is the reality of our human body. So the conclusion of this topic is that it is constitutional that they have the proper knowledge in learning through cognitive, emotional, and physical and social aspects of this matter. And it helps students with knowledge, skill, attitude, and values that will allow them to realize their health, well-being, and dignity, and develop respectful social and sexual relationships. So considering how their choices affect their own well-being and that of others, and in understanding and ensuring the protection of their rights throughout their lives. And students must learn the correct terms of the reproductive system and sexually transmitted disease and contraception birth instead of street slang. So should be taught by teachers. Gaining knowledge of proper sex education can have a great impact on the prevention of sexual problems in adulthood and eliminating any more myths surrounding sex. So despite its cons, sex and relationships are a huge part of people's lives. And in fact, none of us would be here without it. So sex education is no perfect and has its flaws, but with the help of Ateneo de Davao University, to its junior high students, everything could be possible as long as the students learning and be wise about it. Sex education would be successful. That's all for today. So thank you so much.